Now, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar, it's really a great time to be a fan of the best rapper in the world. And if you are ready to see how some of the most important people in Kendrick Lamar's team and, well, his labels and agencies have officially spoken, well, they have all shown that they are getting to work and something is underway and it's supposed to come very soon. Well, before we go any further, if you are just as excited as I am, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because now, really? With what has now been teased from all people around PGLang, Kendrick Lamar's brand new Project 3 agency, and all of their other supporting creatives, what it looks like we are about to get next, and this may be Kendrick Lamar's next musical venture, well, and get ready for this, it's a Baby Keem collab album. And yes, I am serious, you heard that right. As well, right now, with the new signs that came out after everything we already discussed about the future of Kendrick Lamar's musical plans and everything remaining within the GNX era and what was recorded there, what's starting to come underway is that Kendrick's people are working and they are moving behind the scenes right now to, well, put something together that, well, from Scott Bridgway, which for those who don't know, he produced almost the entire Melodic Blue album from Baby Keem, and he produced some of the biggest songs on GNX. Well, he just posted this, which means that something is coming soon, and again, as everybody around Kendrick's team has been talking cryptically and alluding to something, well, when we look at it all together for the past few weeks or so, this can't be a coincidence anymore, and especially when we look from thing to thing that everybody is doing, it's really looking like everything is coming to fruition, which now the most important thing that we got and the most important clue that is revealing to us so much, well, was something that was posted from the new agency that Kendrick Lamar founded and created alongside Dave Free with the Project 3 group. And well, after cryptically posting a little vocal snippet that said what happened to 1 and 2 and nobody knew what that meant, they posted something that revealed to us a lot. And now what they did, well, was just put up a picture where we can see that a car is being filmed. And well, here is where it all starts, and here is where things get interesting. Which now the first thing to just note and put out there, well, is that now as this is a car, it is continuing the branding and ethos of GNX, you could say, in a way. And why that is important is that with the official report that came from Paramount the other day, which was all about Kendrick Lamar's upcoming film with Dave Free and the South Park creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker, well, one of the reasons that film has got delayed is because Kendrick is planning another tour for 2026, and with that, while everything is pointing to the fact that it may be the Grand National Tour again, with it also looking like Kendrick Lamar is going to touch back into many of the places that he already did, specifically within North America and maybe Europe, and well, in that he's going to go to other stadiums that he didn't touch along that tour path and maybe return to some of the original venues, well, with that, he has to be touring some sort of new music, and he can't just be running back the show that we already saw without SZA. And I say all of that to say, with the car we are seeing right here, this very well could be what the next chapter of the GNX era could be, which now all comes down to this vehicle, which is a Range Rover EV. And well, if you remember, if you're a PGLang fan, you're a Kendrick Lamar fan, and you're a Baby Keem fan, if you remember Baby Keem's phenomenal record, The Melodic Blue, well, what is track 4 called on that album? It is called Range Brothers. And well, who is on that track? It is Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem. And so just with what we are seeing here, which is Kendrick Lamar's agency all getting to work, and well, we see them with a Range Rover, we know that Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem have called themselves the Range Brothers, and this would fit into the GNX era perfectly, as this could be what the next era is coming into. I mean, that is showing us a lot there. And now things continued as well. The Project 3 agency put up this picture, which is from the UK, and it says UK. And well, there's a lot of important players within this picture, which now who we end up seeing here front and center, well, is none other than Dave Free. And then you look to the left and you see Kendrick Lamar, and amongst some other people, another important person who is here is Anthony Salah, who is in the back, who is Kendrick Lamar's manager. And I mean, with some other creatives, it looks like one guy is holding a camera, and it looks like a lot of these people are dressed for some sort of a shoot. You could imagine that something important was happening in this room, and if you think things stop there, well, we got more confirmation that something is being filmed, as well they posted up in this red room where we just see some people directing some things, and that's really it. And so then between all of that, and then remember Scott Bridgway, who produced almost the entire Melodic Blue and produced a lot on GNX and is seemingly very close to Kendrick and Keem, well, he put up this, which obviously this is indicating that something is coming up very soon. Well, when you piece all of this together and put it in the timeline we have already seen, which already started a few weeks ago with Dave Free saying that this was the calm before something seemingly, and then we saw that Kendrick's producers were all working in the studio together in 2025, I think it's safe to say that Kendrick Lamar and his people are planning for the next chapter. And really, when you think about Kendrick trying to move into the next era of his career, for Kendrick to come out with a Range Brothers album or whatever it's going to be called and use it as an extension of the GNX tour, have Baby Keem finally come back outside and, well, get ready for the next chapter of what he has going on. If Kendrick and Baby Keem really do have a collab album plan, this really is the smartest thing that they could possibly do, and it really does seem like, honestly, something that is genius in terms of the totality of it all. And the reason why that is, and the reason why I say that, is because when we look at the current landscape of hip-hop, see where everything is at, and see how, aside from somebody like Kendrick Lamar running the rap game, or a lot of other rappers who emerged within the 2000s or the early 2010s at this point, well, in comparison to the newer guys, they control the culture more, and Kendrick is really the king of this entire thing, and it's not even close. Well, in an industry where people are worried about the next star, if Kendrick Lamar, who is by far the biggest rapper in the genre right now and one of the biggest artists in the industry, well, steps back outside with Baby Keem for an entire album and showcases how good of an artist and a hip-hop creative he really is right alongside him. Well, if this album is great, which I'm sure it will be, that exposure will genuinely put him in line to dominate for whenever Kendrick Lamar is not outside at the top of the game. And really, if that's what's coming, it would make a lot of sense why his absence has been so long, and maybe there'll be a Baby Keem album to follow that up very soon. But just seriously, when you think about the optics of all of this and think about Kendrick coming back for the Grand National Tour, if he has Baby Keem as an opener, or if they're doing these new songs on stage together, whatever that may be, that really does seem like a bigger point to just draw fans back in, get bigger crowds, get more excitement than ever for shows that then will be fully leaning into hip-hop and something Kendrick Lamar can directly play off for the entire show. And just with that, I really hope these guys are not trolling, and I really hope that they are working towards something, as honestly, this would all just be the most perfect thing. And I think another thing that's very important to note here, and I think it makes a lot more sense when you heard the interview that Jack Antonoff, Soundwave, and Mustard did with Variety for the Hitmakers of the Year article, well, is that when it comes to Kendrick Lamar's team, what we have found out with these go-to producers and people who, as Jack Antonoff and Soundwave said, they have almost a secret society of collaborators, which really is the perfect way to describe how these people move. Well, if we remember that Jack Antonoff was saying that he was working on the final mixes for GNX at 4 in the morning, and then also it was said that Kendrick Lamar literally walked into Interscope Records, handed in the album at 9 a.m. and told them to get ready because he's coming and it's ready to go. Well, what we also see is that when it comes to the way Kendrick Lamar creates within the industry and who he keeps in the loop and how he even communicates with his own label, not even they really know what his plans are and how he is going to move next. And I do just think in terms of the music industry, and even if we look at the lineage of GNX and the way his current tour is unfolding and really concluding for what we know right now, as GNX dropped right before Thanksgiving in 2024, and well, then it rolled into the holiday season and became the album that dominated that entire time, where, well, the music industry pretty much shuts down, and in terms of big label efforts, nobody is putting anything out. And none of the big people who run the machine and use the puppet artists to try and gain their goals do what they usually do, which is just deceive everybody with slop. Well, ultimately back then, GNX dropping the way it did almost seemed like a play to try and defeat the industry. And remember that Drake definitely behind the scenes was already talking about this lawsuit, and Kendrick must have knew it was coming, Which then on so many levels, from the Drake side of things to just the industry not being in the know and having to stand by this record no matter what, but then also running away and taking their holiday vacation. I know people try to spin Kendrick into being this industry darling now because he has just become indispensable to them by being so much himself that he has a bigger following than pretty much anybody else in the entire record industry. But Kendrick's relationship with them is not what the regular Drake stans or the people who are just jealous of his success would try to convince you of, because from every account that we know and understand, Kendrick just does what he wants, sticks to himself, and because he is such a superstar, well, the industry does get involved, but they would never actually push an artist like him to the forefront organically. But what now I am really trying to say, just understanding all of that and just understanding what GNX did in the industry, what it represented, and well, the time that it dropped, is that, well, if Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem are working on something and there seriously are some big plans, for all we know, Kendrick Lamar could be coming out with new music right within this time this year, not even in 2026, but in 2025. And you know, as GNX came at Thanksgiving and scared the entire industry then and just changed everything forever, maybe Kendrick is planning to do something that is even more of a power move and more of just a show of dominance, just in terms of keeping the entire industry on their feet in a time where the lazy people who keep the thing going don't want to do anything of the sort. And well, what I'm saying is that maybe Kendrick Lamar will drop the album right around Christmas time and right for the holidays in the busiest part of the year, really just to create a statement and show that he can do it no matter what anybody else wants to say. And you know, when you even think about the run Kendrick Lamar has since Like That and see how pretty much every song he has dropped or album he has dropped has came out on a date of significance, and well, that's pretty much added another layer or meaning to the message he has been trying to make as a whole. For Kendrick to drop around the holidays, it would seemingly continue that very lineage and that very idea, and really just keep us in a place where he has the potential to put everybody on notice last minute once again. And just with that, I do think Kendrick does take pleasure in the fact that if he drops anything, and especially in that time, it's not just going to be a show of how he is the biggest artist on the planet with no gimmicks, games, and tricks, undoubtedly, but it's also just going to be a flex and statement to the rest of the industry who really does seem to be more complacent in everything that's terrible right now. And even for the guys who are jealous of Kendrick, all they'll do is yap about it, but they don't actually do anything to try and take him off the throne. And well, Kendrick is just going to continue to show that he's running circles around them, he is outworking them, and he is outdoing them in every single way. And so from the way we are seeing Kendrick and his people around him move right now, what it's starting to look like, Baby Keem's potential involvement in this, and then therefore the explanation for his absence and the way that that is just interacting with the narrative and really the way Kendrick Lamar has moved, and it would make sense for him to continue to move going forward. Well, overall, what I have to say is that in this time where it does get chilly in the industry and a lot of people just go to sleep and take a break and just let the mid that they have had running the industry continue to just be the mid that is running the industry, Kendrick Lamar really may come in with his cousin and shake things up that will really just capture the magic of hip-hop in a way that we don't get to see too often anymore. But when we do, it's usually somebody like Kendrick Lamar leading the way forward. But really, if this happens and if we get to see Baby Keem like this, I think Kendrick taking the moment after GNX to just build up the most important person he possibly could into, well, not just the next future star, because he has already proven he can be that, but literally like the next future superstar of rap. There's just so many levels to that would make it sheer and utter genius. And maybe with this, for all we know, maybe Baby Keem is just going to be dropping an album himself, and there is going to be heavy support from Kendrick Lamar like we saw on the Melodic Blue. And well, in that way, it's still an extension of what Kendrick Lamar is doing and what his team is showing off. And this grand plan they really do have, and it's really becoming more clear and clear every day, that they have thought through so thoroughly to just dominate hip-hop within a way that nobody can come close to and dominate the music industry as an extension of that. And so listen, at this point, as we have connected all of these things that Kendrick's people are doing, and we are seeing that they are outside and alluding to something. Well, listen, while these guys usually move in silence when they want to, and if they are speaking on any level, and especially about creative endeavors like this, it must be for something important. Hopefully we find out what actually is coming very soon, or hopefully we get some more hints that just give us a better understanding of what they are trying to pull off. But really what I have to say is that from Kendrick Lamar to Baby Keem to everybody else, if these things are true and if we end up getting new music, hip-hop is not just going to be in a place where, once again, it's going to be so fun to have the entire culture behind the mantle of the greatest creatives within it, but it's going to be so fun to just see every single person crash out industry-wide when the king returns, and maybe he brings the person who, after him, with the way the rap game looks, he will have one of the easiest walks to the throne if things stay the way they are. And so yeah, that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts on everything that seems to be coming out of the Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem pipeline, and what do you think is happening now with all of these clues? We have obviously discussed this now in multiple videos and really just broke down every single facet of how Kendrick's people are moving, what it all means, what could happen, and where it's all going. Do you think we're going to get some sort of a Range Brothers album with Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem? Do you think we are going to get a Baby Keem solo album and we will finally get his first record since 2021? Or do you think Kendrick Lamar has something different coming all together and we are just not ready or expecting what that next move is really going to end up being? Now listen, if you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. It really means so much. And if you haven't already, really do leave a like and subscribe. It makes such a big difference in making sure that everybody sees how the best rappers in the world, or well, sometimes the worst rappers in the world, are moving. And well, speaking of the best and worst rappers in the world, if you want to see how right before this, we got a little bit of a 2-for-1 as we see how things for Drake just spiraled more and more to show how broken he is and how potentially broke he is. And well, while Drake is fallen victim to the past and he is trying to just find a way to save whatever he has left, well, Pusha T just came out and made some shocking announcements as he said that he is done making diss tracks and he is going to retire from the thing that he has pretty much ended careers and ruined reputations with. Well, you're not going to want to miss this one. It is a good one, so check out the suggested video.